This episode of The Cut was filmed at the Men's Grooming Lounge.
Now this is me in the future. Always want to prove a point. Now we're contemplating another junction in life. We live with our decisions. It all come down to choice. It all come down to choice. Hey. I made use of my opportunity. Now I'm where I wanna be.
Welcome back to The Cut, and today's cut reasoning I got solid, proper solid. I call this installment the Battle of the Nigels. We have Minister of Finance and Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clarke. Welcome, boss.
Thank you for having me, Wayne.
And I have Nigel Hector, affectionately known as Nigy boy, Father Blind.
Father! You know, guard me, Father. It's a pleasure, man. Always, my brother.
Enough respect, you know.
Yeah, man.
Boy, no, it's a long time I want to sit down with you, you know, my brother.
You know, guard.
But nothing before the time, because now I realize that so much has happened since your boss on the scene, right? I realize that congratulations are in order right now after you receiving your double major bachelor's degree in history and in political science. But like you come for the minister job one day.
Why not?
I don't know part then. Let's see what the future holds.
God, no, but congratulations,
Thank you so much.
my brother. You were doing this in silence because most people knew you as Nigy boy, the artist, hit maker, be a big song on road. But we never know, say, I go school same time and I do the thing.
Hey, no, man, me I stress out at night time, you know, when time I have to write a 20-page research paper.
Wow.
That's what me I say.
Wow.
And me have to walk go towards the fountain and sit in silence and home and say, all right, get my mind clear, back to work. Yeah, man. So it's all a dual lifestyle that I was juggling and still plan on juggling because we can't ease off. You see me? So
Can't ease off, so there's more education to come. What's next in the education?
I want to pursue a law degree, but that might take me some time to get to, but you have to do. You see
Yeah.
me, sir? Yeah, man.
So tell me something. If you did bus 5 years ago, would it be possible for you to find the time to accomplish these degrees?
I feel like it would have been harder.
It would have been harder.
Yes, I'm still, driven, but I don't believe I would be in the same state of mind. So I think now is the right time, and I don't think anything happened before its time.
God's perfect timing. True, man. Minister, welcome. Been trying to get you on the cut for
It's true.
you know how long.
It's true. It's a long
right?
time you're trying, yeah.
But we know your schedule, and I give
Yes.
thanks for finding the time in the schedule to sit in with us.
You call me and say, Niger boy, is that who you... I had to do everything I could to make it. Can't miss it.
Yeah.
Minister, stop cutting numbers.
So I want to find out a little bit more. We know you as the Minister of Finance, and we know what you're doing currently. You're in the paper, you're in the news cycle every week. But I want to know who Nigel Clarke is, who he was before, from schooling, so early accomplishments. Why them pick you as Finance Minister? What did you achieve to put yourself in that conversation?
Well, just biographically, I born in Kingston. My mom was a teacher. My father was a lawyer who became a judge. I went to St. Richard's Primary School. In fact, I went to St. Andrew Prep. And then when the third kid was born, they realized that them school fee, them couldn't.
Sure.
So I just, them switched me. And it was the greatest thing they ever did for me. I went to St. Richard's Primary.
Really?
I took my common entrance from St. Richard's Primary. And I went to Monroe College. I boarded as a boarding school in St. Elizabeth. And I was there for 7 years. I lived in Westmoreland for 4 years of that 7 years because my father got transferred to be the resident magistrate of Westmoreland. So I lived in Bluefields, right on the beach. My formative experience was living by the sea in Westmoreland, attending Monroe. And after Monroe, I went to UWI. I did a degree in math and computer science. And after that, I did a master's at Oxford University and a PhD in mathematics. And then I started my career after that, which was in business and finance, for 20 odd years, I believe, to add it up properly, prior to coming into becoming a member of parliament and Minister of Finance.
So at what stage of your schooling did you realize that numbers, maths would be your superpower? Were you always top of the class from primary school in maths and these things?
You know, from as early as I can remember, I always enjoyed mathematics, always enjoyed numbers. I believe that love would have been nurtured by these extra lessons I used to go to by a guy called Mr. Abrahams, who was very, very famous back in those days. Scores of people went to him, hundreds of people went every day.
Yeah.
And he used to have these drills in, fractions and decimals and factorization. I can't even remember the details, but that's my earliest memory of being, enjoying it and having some degree of competence at it. But teachers along the way played a special role. And something I haven't spoken about a lot is I had a teacher at Monroe. I did A-levels in lower 6 and I got an A. But the rules of the time was that if you're going to apply for like the Jamaica scholarship, you had to get all of your A-level results in 1 year. So I had to repeat it and do it again in upper 6.
Right.
And my math teacher at the time thought that I would be bored sitting in the class and doing it again. And of her own volition, remember I'm at a boarding school right on top of the Santa Cruz Mountains, away from the hustle and bustle, right? And out of her own initiative, she said to me, all right, meet me after school. And for the entire year of that upper 6 year, she taught me beyond the syllabus without $1, without 1 penny, without my parents even being aware, without asking me, no arrangement. Like she just thought that I was worthy of she wanted to make that investment in me.
Extra effort.
Yes, and that was a crucial point as well, because I came away from school, knowing more about math than would normally be the case, because somebody saw it fit to place that investment in me.
It's always important that we have those teachers along the way because a lot of subjects that I lost interest in is because the teacher, me and them, it wasn't a good fit. You know them way then? So I just kind of drift away from it. Accounts, I run away from number. I don't know how you do it because most students run away from numbers as soon as them can, run away from mathematics as soon as them can. But you then took up degrees and masters. What were your degrees?
Yeah, so I did, my undergrad was math and computer science. My master's was applied statistics. And my PhD was numerical analysis.
And now about that in Nigy. A headache that
I heard him say applied math and statistics. Oh, Lord. No, I took a course in that. I like statistics.
Yes.
But
what was your favorite part of statistics? What?
I think it's the hypothesis, the investigative variables, the null, and
the null hypothesis.
I love that part.
But the good thing about those things, though, Nigel boy, is that it's fundamental to reasoning. Yeah. Think about the null hypothesis. What you do is you state something, and then you have to use reason to prove that it either goes so or it not goes so. And what I think that numerical reasoning is critical to the foundation of a society.
Right.
It establishes logic.
That's true.
Logic.
That is true.
Yeah.
With maths, you can't go wrong,
You can't go
With
wrong.
other subjects, you have a gray area. Maths, solid. Is it you're wrong or you're not?
Yeah, you're right. You're either right or you're wrong.
You're me and I chat foolishness.
No. But it's true though, man. So Nigy, we're going to come back to your journey in business, of course. Nigy, your early days, your formative years, what was that story like? Because I hear a riveting story about birth. I need to hear that.
Right. So it's a long tail. Yes, it's like when they say, why have long tail? Yeah, man, this have a long tail. So as far as how the primary source dictated everything to me, my mom and the extended family, I was born around 5 months and 2 weeks, prematured.
5 months and 2 weeks.
Yeah, man.
That's
So
a little over half.
Less than 4 months?
Me nah no live down here, so you know.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in that time, that's basically what the doctors were echoing, that I wouldn't make it. And before I was born, the doctors had already pronounced me stillborn. However, that was not the case. You know, I came out looking as beautiful as I am now. And, you know, they still thought I wasn't going to make it. But, you know, the Lord had other plans for me. My mom was actually about to be discharged from the hospital, and a nurse who was working with her at the time went for her before she had left and said to her, you're not going to look for your little pretty pink baby upstairs. And, you know, that's how all of that happened. I was placed in the incubation chamber for about 3 months. However, you know, the doctors, they still had their doubts. My eyes, they were supposed to receive some sort of protective covering while in the chamber. However, I didn't receive that. So the light in the chamber burnt out all the oxygen in my retina. And then, you know, I was discharged, sent home with the family. And when I was about 5-6 months old, you know, my family, they started noticing that my eyes had a glossy look to it. They brought me back to the hospital where I was diagnosed as being totally blind. So that go on, but it still a stop it farther from progress, you know.
Looking on.
Yeah, man. My brain was fully developed. I was not ostracized by the kids around me growing up. I fit in quite normally with them, play with everybody. Me and everybody fight. When a man take away my train and take away my car, I fight him feet. It was a pretty normal childhood. I remember being a young kid batting stones up to my grandfather's house, because the way how the house is, I'm from Flanker. The way how the house is set up, it's like there's a downstairs house and there's a house built on the upstairs of that, right? So I would be downstairs, you know, in like this stone heap, and me and my cousin them would just be out there, and we would be batting stones up towards the street level, up towards my grandfather's house, and they had cars and buses parked out there. So they used to tell me something to behave myself, because I might broke the car window them and stuff like that. And, you know, I was an ordinary kid.
Really?
Yeah, I was a very mischievous child. I need to buy back one whole heap of dresser and a whole heap of phone and something I mash up and crab up back in the day. So I developed quite normally. My mom, she wasn't aware of how to deal with a child suffering from my condition, right? So fortunately, she asked around and she got the connection to the Salvation Army School for the Blind, where I did a majority of my schooling, where I developed my independent life skills, a majority of them. For example, how to make a bed, how to tie shoelaces. Well, my uncle teach me that part, but how to clean a bathroom, so on and so forth. That was where I learned Braille, which is very, very integral to my daily life nowadays.
Yeah.
So that's where I did a majority of my schooling. You know, I did the GSAT at the time, Greatest Achievement Test, passed, transitioned to the Meadowbrook High School.
Let me ask you something.
Right.
Who figured out that this little blind child had this golden voice? What stage did you figure that out? Or was it somebody who picked it up?
The family picked it up. The family picked it up because my grandfather's side, a family, they're singers, they're instrument players, a lot of them.
Okay.
My uncles, they used to be in the boys club, boys club, and Mobi. You know, they'd be playing drums and so on and so forth, other instruments. I've been singing ever since I was a baby. When I was born, and they thought I was gonna die, and they put me in the bedpan, that's when I made my first note, right?
Yeah.
Because they thought I was stillborn. It's been since those days, and then when I boarded at the Salvation Army School for the Blind, Mrs. Lee, the director for the school choir, she recognized the talent, you know, at about 7 years of age, and she invited me to join the choir. You know, me a bad getting picnic, so I go run about all the place and want to try to avoid all of the tension, contention, what a word there? That word there. All of the eyes, so to speak. But she remained persistent, you know, and I'm happy that she did because, you know, because of her tutelage, I'm where I am now. So yeah, man.
Nice.
That's a powerful story.
Yeah, no man, no. When you talk about powers,
powerful.
when you talk about powers in the story, it's not normal. And I want to catch up back to
You're such an inspiration to Jamaicans.
to Jamaicans, not just people with disability or blind folk. Like it gone past that. As a matter of fact, I was with 2 people last night who know your songs well and know of your academic accomplishment and never realized you're blind. And they were so impressed with you, love you, but never even realized that aspect because even without knowing that, it's still.
But even so, he doesn't have to be defined by that. You know?
Exactly.
I saw a presentation. Nigy boy actually interned, if I'm not mistaken, with the State Assembly in New York, right? That's like saying come to Parliament and intern. Someone ask him why you never come intern with me. Right? Come intern with me. But him go intern in the Parliament in New York. Wait a minute. And when they introduce him on the floor of the Parliament in New York. They never mention I'm blind.
Right.
They mention the intern, who is a great guy and is a great singer. I.e., so that don't have to define him.
Exactly.
And I'd love to see Jamaica get to that level where that don't define him.
Yeah, but it makes it all the more impressive, though.
It makes the story very impressive.
All the odds. It's against all the odds.
And this is why also, that's why I call myself Father Blindness.
So I have one person from the delegation and he doesn't know this is happening. But I'd like to introduce you to Nigel Hector, also known as Nigy Boy. If you don't know this, he's my intern. But he's a reggae superstar, and please give him the cordialities of the house while we have him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Certainly, on behalf of Ms. Hyman, the Speaker, and all the members, we welcome you here to the New York State Assembly, extend to you the privileges of the floor. Thank you for your contribution to music and arts and such an incredible following. Also, we look forward to hearing you at UPS. Continue your great work. Know you're always welcome. Thank you, sir.
Hallelujah, for the Lord God Almighty reigns.
What I've noticed over the years, and it's not just for individuals in the blind and visually impaired community, individuals in other communities with disability as well. You know, they'll have some sort of condition and, you know, they feel all self-conscious and insecure, and it's hard for them to embrace who they are. So me now, I decided to pick up the mantle, you see me I say, and embrace who I am. Because I'm one father.
Yeah, that is one of the most impressive things that I notice about you. The fact that you can laugh at yourself, you're humorous, you run your joke them, you not take life too serious. Because as you say, a lot of people with disabilities would probably, you know, get bitter with the card that life has dealt them. But here you are now as this example of just doing it in the most gracious, graceful format and manner. And as Nigel said, you are inspiration to Jamaicans, you know, all over the world. And it's very impressive, man. And I'm saying, kudos to you, my boss.
We speak every time, man.
So Minister Clarke, first let me talk about you achieving this accomplishment of getting the highest grade across all the campuses.
But my achievement, no, you know, when you talk to me with Nigy boy, them achievement they stack up, you know, because it's not what you achieve to, you know, it's where you come from as well. It's what you have had to do to achieve. So right now, I don't even feel like talk about my achievement. Because I think that, look, man, you know, what we're here in the barbershop with an outstanding individual. And my little achievements, you know, don't compare
No.
with what this man has done and what he means
No, man,
for
no, man.
Jamaica.
Okay, okay.
You
You know
are
what I
going
mean?
to let me
Yeah,
interject, because
yeah,
Nigel
yeah.
to Nigel now.
Nigel to Nigel.
Nigel.
Yeah, man.
Nigel,
See the
Nigel.
buckle of the Nigel.
Yeah,
now.
man. So, go on
Watch
to
our style
Nigel.
now.
Yeah, man.
All right. You study, you know, maths, computer science.
Yes.
I don't know if you got really deep into calculus.
Yes.
Because I know my
Yes.
type of thing that. But
Yes.
to have achieved a feat as impressive as you have is nothing short of amazing. Right now, me I learn from you. You see me I say my lyrics come from a man like you know with the, as far as the maths is concerned. You see me I say?
Yeah.
Like if me see a girl out the door now.
Why can't I be?
No, me not even gonna say that.
Oh,
Me
what you
not
gonna say?
that.
What you gonna say?
I'm gonna say something to her like, excuse me, miss. I saw you from across the room and I just gotta say I appreciate your edges and vertices. You see me? Mathematical term, father.
Yes, indeed.
Mathematical. Indeed. No, but Minister, you have done outstanding things in your life, and we have to give the credit where the credit is due. You not only achieved your top honors, but you were the top student across all UWIC campuses in maths, computer sciences for the degree, and at the end of it. And that is something to write home about, for sure. You must have felt proud of yourself for doing that, and you must have realized then that numbers is going to define you, you know, career-wise and all these things. Did you know that it was always the aspiration to make changes for your nation? Or did that come as you evolved in business?
I've always been very passionate about Jamaica. You know, brought up to believe in the potential of Jamaica, in the promise of Jamaica, that we are a people of destiny, and that has always permeated my life. I would have, as a result of that, taken a great interest in what is happening in Jamaica, what's happening economically, what's happening politically, but with no real intention of getting involved in politics. I've never been in politics all my life. Most people in politics were involved in student government, right? That have run for office at university, you know what I mean? That have joined youth groups, that have been exposed. I have none of that in my background.
Okay.
My intention, though, was to positively contribute to Jamaica. I went abroad to study with intention of coming back. I started to work at a lucrative career there, came back because I wanted whatever I did to have that contribution to be in the Jamaican society. And over the course of my career in the private sector, in business in Jamaica, I was always involved in doing things to improve the lot of, you know, of Jamaicans and to improve Jamaican society. You know, I had a youth orchestra program that taught classical music to kids who would not otherwise have the opportunity to learn. You know, my entry into politics was very, very, very gradual, and certainly where I am today, I would not have set out with the intention of being Minister of Finance and Public Service. You know, I got back to Jamaica. This is around the late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of young people sort of frustrated at economic stagnation, and I joined a group of young people who would meet every week and just discuss what's happening in Jamaica. When it became political or partisan is when I kind of stepped back, because I had every intention of just having a business career in Jamaica. But I met people during that period. For example, Andrew Holness was a part of that group. He was the only member of parliament in that group. It had bankers, it had academics, and persons who wanted to see Jamaica improve. But fast forward, you know, Andrew Holness became Minister of Government, Minister of Education in the Bruce Golding administration, and he appointed me to chair HEART. I became chairman of HEART, which is one of the largest agencies in the Ministry of Education. And over the course of those 4 years, I established a very good working relationship with him in his capacity as minister. And, you know, the unexpected happened. He became Prime Minister with the resignation of Bruce Golding. And, you know, I would have had, by then, certainly a ton of experience in finance, in internationally and in business in Jamaica across many sectors and across the Caribbean and Central America. So I definitely had something to offer. And when he became Prime Minister. Remember, Jamaica was in the middle of an IMF program that was at the time sort of going sideways. So one of the first trips that he made before he became Prime Minister was to Washington to meet the head of the IMF and the head of the World Bank and the head of the IDB. The outgoing Prime Minister Golding took him, and he asked me to join him. And that was a seminal sort of experience, and began to question myself as to my duty and obligation in the moment. Yeah.
Must have been a scary decision to leave business as a successful businessman, making so many moves to go into serving
Absolutely.
the country.
It was very scary.
How do you convince your
scary.
wife that politics is on the cards? Is that something that is also a gradual thing?
Well, that's the thing about it.
Because you get her, has to play a part in,
yes,
in the...
It could only have happened gradually. If I were presented with a choice, it would never have happened.
It would never have happened.
It would never have
right.
happened.
Yeah,
It had to happen very, 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 very gradually. And even, that period of me serving as Ambassador of Economic Affairs and getting, exposed to what this, certainly political service was all about, allowed me to sort of absorb the reality of it, very, very, slowly. But it was extremely scary and intimidating, I must confess.
All right, so speaking of gradual progression, Nigy, you didn't just bust overnight. No. You progressed through the phases. You sing at All Together Sing. You used to lead the choir, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even before that, I was one of the lead singers on the choir for the Salvation Army School for the Blind,
right?
Where we used to enter JCDC, the gospel competition, and they have the cultural competition across the island. So we used to do that. Then we tried All Together Sing 1 year, and then when I went to Meadowbrook, I led the choir for All Together Sing the following year as well.
I would remember seeing videos from time to time with you, seeing this. Obviously, you look at you see the glass in the eyes, you realize that you are visually impaired.
Yeah.
But it was just crazy how wicked you did sing. You used to have viral clips all the time, right?
Yeah, that happened later though.
Later.
So what happened? It's me fix all my glasses. Oh Lord, tearjerker. It's an interesting story for me. So, my last bout with JCDC was about 2016. I made it all the way to the semifinals, but at that time, puberty started lick me wicked. I wasn't used to my new sound, so I would try and sing as if I still sounded like 13, but it wasn't happening. And the judges at the time, they realized the struggle, the dilemma that I was facing, and they said, you should take a break, because if you don't, the Nigel we know today will not be the Nigel we know tomorrow, right? And it just so happened that at the time I migrated to the US. And, culture shock. I'm in a new environment filled with a variety of people from all, walks of life, racial backgrounds, ethnicities, you name it. So it took me a while to acclimate there. I'm in a space where I'm not used to things. It's a... How would they be, Pammy? And then I wish girl call me now. Hola, darling. Yeah, it's a different way of life, and I had to spend some time trying to assimilate, trying to get myself acclimated with this new system of things, right? I don't know this way of life. My first year in high school in the States, I decided to play the piano instead of singing. I'm not good at the piano, but I fiddle with it, right? I picked that up for that year. Then I heard that the school had a choir, a chorale. So I said, all right, I'll see if I can transition back into singing. Let's see what happens. I did that for a semester my following year, and it wasn't it. It wasn't it for me, because in my mind, I'm saying I'm used to a certain level of singing, a certain standard of singing where everybody sounded in sync. Nothing no go wrong, everything clean and clear cut and concise. But in my mind, I was like, no, this doesn't feel right.
Okay.
Right? I'm missing something. So I dropped it. And I decided, all right, maybe I'll join the school band. I joined the school band and I picked up the saxophone.
Okay.
And I did that for a few years until COVID came around. And, you know, that was a very drastic change for everybody worldwide. You know, everybody's life started to revolve around the internet. And I was bored. All I used to do was sleep, because what else am I supposed to do? Me there in my yard, and I got the chance to stay home, get my assignments, and I would just knock them out in the first, second day of school and spend the rest of the days sleeping. Yeah. Right? Because I don't like work. That's one thing with me. So I would use the remainder of those days just making clips, right? And music, pursuing music as a career was not a calling card for me. You know, I never paid it any attention. And my best friend, he had called me one day and said to me, yo, my youth, you used to do music thing, dog? I said to him, no, kind of drop his singing when I really do it. And he said, my youth, you idiot? And he said to me, Moyo, write a song, because that's another interesting thing now. You know, when I was like 12, 13, I remember the days when I used to, it would be me, my best friend, and a couple other blind youth. We'd be on the campus of the School for the Blind, and we'd just be sitting under a tree with braillers, writing songs. You know, we had tried to take a laptop, them and install all sorts of recording software. You know, Cool Edit Pro, the Audacity, we don't know. We're kids. And then over time, we learn about the Pro Tools and all of that. But that's where we all started, right? So him tell me, say, write a song, sing it, let me hear what it sound like. I did it, got it to him, and he said, yo, you gotta pick this up. Fortunately, I started college around that time. I decided to move away from home, stay on campus. And one night, I decided, all right, I'm gonna make a video, post it on Instagram, see what happens. I think that at the time the Lighter Challenge was going on. Posted it on Instagram, and I just saw people running with it at Shensia, at Taros Riley, at Romish Entertainment, and I'm like, what is this?
I remember that clip.
Right. Start go all over the place, 6 wave, go yasso, go this way, go yasso. And then I started noticing comments from individuals who used to watch me on All Together Sing, watch me on JCDC competitions as a kid. And, you know, that made me say to myself, maybe I should reconsider it for real. Then we do a dapper clip them. My boy, what go on?
That's cool, man.
Yeah, man.
They're gonna ask you, you know, how the link come out with Dapper Dan.
Yeah, man. I did one of his clips, and I think somebody had told me that he reposted it on his story, and he said something along the lines of, yo, he may be blind, but his eyes are in his voice, or something to that effect. And then I did another one, and he posted that on his page. Then I did another one on TikTok, and like over 24 hours, it got like 500,000, and he reposted that on his page as well. And then I realized, all right, I'm in the eyes of the public now. Maybe I should consider this thing. But, you know, at that time, school was in full swing.
Right.
And then some time passed, you know, I'm just a young college kids singing on the internet, doing my schoolwork, and 2021 reach, and Dr. Love reached out to me. I kind of delayed on the response because the industry kind of shaky. And I said, you know what, let me reach out to him, let me respond to him, see what he has to say. And he said to me, yo, me reach 40 time and broke 40 time. So nothing to worry about. And when he said those words to me, it moved me to say, all right, let me hear him out and let me see the direction of things. Let me see what can happen. And we've been working together ever since. I shot my first music video in 2021, which many people don't know, right? And I've been doing performances here and there. 2020, which year that? 2 or 3. I did Rebel Salute.
This is before the big tune dropped.
Dapper find me 2022. Him reach out back to me and he say, yo, bad singer, me have a show in Brooklyn, more you forward through.
Yeah.
I made that appearance, respect to him always and forever.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Them say the phone I'm supposed to mute, and my phone I'm out there, so don't worry about it.
The man have a different kind of hearing.
Yeah, man, I think already.
Yeah.
So all of this was going on behind the scenes. Yeah, so I say this slow but steady progress. I'm juggling the schoolwork at the same time, which I'm kind of grateful for, right? I'm grateful for the fact that things didn't take off like a rocket ship at that time. Because it gave me that time, it gave me that space to myself to do what I needed to do. Right. And then, Rebel Salute 2023.
So you're writing your own songs?
Yes.
You write your song? Then?
Yes, every single song.
Wow.
When me depend.
No, sir, that's normal.
We're putting out songs here and there. 2023, did Rebel Salute. After that, I got a song with Mr. Vegas, Respect Every Time, my brother. And I thought that was going to be it for me. Song performed well in my fan base, with my fan base, but it never catapulted. And, 2023 was a slow but steady year, and then 2024 come around, right? About to graduate. I'm in my final stretch. And do a little freestyle, rush and see it, fly the gate.
Right, so that is the big tune, Continent.
Right.
Right, there, so
Continental girl a text, hello.
Father blood.
Father.
At them.
Yeah, I think I lie.
Runway.
Sharing is caring, so you got to share me.
Nigy boy, you are the voice of the blind community.
Father.
And you have the Minister of Finance here. What would you suggest to him that needs the most attention, where you would say funding is concerned for that blind child growing up in Jamaica who wants that education so he can compete on a world level?
Well, there's a variety of avenues where I love money now. So there's a variety of avenues where revenue can be channeled to assist blind and visually impaired individuals and even other persons with disabilities. So, for example, with the educational aspect of things, there needs to be a greater emphasis on technological advancements. I'm in the States, so I get to see, the progress that's being made over there. They aren't really using Braille machines, for example, right? Nowadays, they have a thing called Braille notes. I have one. I wish I had it on me right now. You can use these machines to do note-taking. Me, I use it to write songs. That's where Continent came from.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
No, so not a Braille machine. My Braille machine under my bed, I catch up dust.
Really? So what's the major difference between these two devices?
The major difference is that, you know, the braille machine, it's simple, right? You use it, you put in a paper, you write on that paper, that's that. The braille note, it's basically like a braille computer. I can use that device to watch Netflix if I want to. I used to use it to make messenger calls. I use it to send emails. Devices like these would significantly enhance, you know, growth, development, and learning for individuals who are blind and visually impaired, right? And I think a lot of funding could be put towards having devices like that available for them to use, right? And then I think a lot of finance could be directed also towards truncated domes and ramps on the sidewalks that would, you know, allow blind and visually impaired individuals to know that, hey, I'm at a crosswalk. This is where I cross, right? Make things, it definitely will make things easier. I know that the country has, what do you call those devices now? You know, the ones that you press and it tells you when you can cross from when you're supposed to wait. I know that there are a few of them, but I think more of those should be installed in the places with the most hustle and bustle, right? It's a necessity, it's a requirement.
I like this pitch, you know. This pitch is spoken like a true lawyer, a true future lawyer, you know. And I know the minister is taking his notes.
No, absolutely. We want a more inclusive Jamaica, right? You know, one thing that Nigel's story definitely illuminates is the potential of the individual. Yeah, that we, you know, you invest in the individual, and you can't. It's unbounded, the potential, absolutely unbounded. And so we lose a lot as a country if we have undeveloped potential in the individuals that make up the country.
Yes, yes.
And one area where we certainly have undeveloped potential is in the community of disabled persons, where, you know, the infrastructure that exists does not readily and easily permit them to lead independent lives and to develop all of their potential. But we are making steps in that direction. I mean, the introduction, certainly within my portfolio, of the new currency notes this year, one of the driving factors of that was to have currency in Jamaica that visually impaired people can use without assistance. And the feedback that we have gotten, I don't know.
Right.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah, that some of the banknotes, they have different symbols on, you know, the ends that, you know, for example, I could feel. And
correct.
So you've never used that feature?
No.
Him get wire?
No.
Him get wire.
Nigel boy, the wire level. Him not upon the 5,000, 2,000, 1,000 level. Him upon the wire level. A wire. We're gonna a wire him.
Me have to take all my phone and go so and hold the banknote underneath and then go so.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so I want to ask you, what's the biggest misconception about the job of Minister of Finance, you'd say, from John Public?
I mean, I guess the biggest misconception about the job is that you have it and you don't want to spend it. Or you know what I mean? That you can do anything. It's just because you know.
Right.
You know, that... And I guess another misconception is that ultimately, in that job, you're representing all of Jamaica. You're representing all Jamaicans. And you are ultimately, you know, making decisions about allocations of resources. The more that resources go in one area, is the less that's available to go in another area. But people only see sort of their perspective and don't recognize that in that role, when you're interfacing with the Minister of Finance, you're interfacing with someone who's representing all of the other segments of Jamaica. It's a very, very challenging role in a country with limited resources, as you can, you know, even though that is improving and we're better off than we were before, Jamaica would not be, it's still a country where, the needs outstrip the resources. Yeah?
Well, I mean, I've been, obviously, just like all of Jamaica, been watching you evolve and grow into your role as Minister of Finance. And I feel like when you just started, you were almost like the nice guy, but you've
I am still a nice guy. What are you
you
talking
are
about?
a nice guy, but you're not necessarily the same nice guy you were. You've had to change and you've had to develop a persona to fight on the floor, to fight in Parliament, because it's a very gritty environment and landscape. And I've seen you develop your speaking, your delivery. You almost have a style now. People look towards you, seeing you draw for your illustrations and stuff. And so how much have you changed to fall into the politician role? And not necessarily changed for the worse or for the better, just how have you grown as a politician since entering?
The honest answer, I don't see that. I mean, I don't think I have changed. I think that people are becoming more aware of who I am. That's more it, right? That I've always been very animated.
Really?
Yeah, that's who I am.
So you would have made those type of presentations to like companies, to staff?
Wait, there's nothing like a budget.
What prepares you for a budget?
No, there's
debate?
nothing like a budget presentation where you stand up and you talk for 2, 3, or 4 hours, as the case may be. There's no parallel for that
and there's
in
also
private life.
How you deal with the bickering in the background, because that's the most distracting thing. If I'm trying to hold a thought and a man I say, "Hey, boy, sit down. What are you dealing with? Foolish."
No, you have to always remember they don't have the microphone for them is not on.
So you're not necessarily.
So you don't have to pay attention to what any sort of remark that is designed to try and
But you
interrupt
have
your
to
flow.
be laser focused, though.
You have to be laser focused. But I am who I am, and I've always sort of been sort of someone who, in my communication, I'm very graphical and very animated and so on. And I think that, if anything, what has happened is that people are getting to for better or for worse, know me as I am.
Right.
That's more of what is happening.
Yeah. All right, so Nigy.
What are they doing? Back to what the question in your head? I want to go back to a question you had asked, the one about where finance could be directed, and something just came to my mind as far as transportation is concerned. The JUTC buses. I remember when I used to go to high school, right? And I think the country was taking, or probably still is, I'm not sure, or maybe they have taken greater steps towards this. I remember I would go on the buses, and I think at the time they were introducing the machines for the smarter cards or something like that. I don't know if there have been any changes, but the machines, they would say, all right, concession, okay, blah, 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 right? And I remember being on the buses and, I would have to use my sense of direction, my sense of feeling to know when to get off the bus, right? But what was lacking at the time, and I say this based on what I have observed overseas, is that, the buses are fully voice automated, where the stops are announced. That's not to say that the driver shouldn't have a microphone or something to that effect to reinforce, all right, this is the next stop that's following this one. But I think investing some revenue into, making sure that the bus systems are up to date. Are up to date with these automated voice systems to, assist with travel would be a great cause.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah.
No, man, man, impressive. The advocacy is well needed, and the representation is well needed. So let me come back now to what I was saying.
Right.
The big homecoming.
Yes.
The big Momo homecoming.
Yes.
Momo. In July.
Think a lot.
I wonder if they're ready.
I don't think so, for the father.
Look, told me see you do the place last night, father. the place I go and good and the place I mash up in there. You say, when Father Blind come
Step on.
out,
Yeah.
You're serious.
stadium mash down, little most grandstand,
Hey,
pop down.
when we left stadium, you know, say people phone always out and sitting. And I guess, you know, you probably have televisions posted across the nation. I saw a story post. You think I like me, so you breathe down around there, so you know. I saw a story post that a friend of mine had made, and basically she's reacting to what's going on in the stadium. And he's like, she go, oh my God, I see the girl in my run, and I'm like, whoa!
Yeah, man, a stampede. Listen, the little more the match. When them start singing, people are run from beaches across the field. You know, them have to clear the field and be. I talk about proper pandemonium. So Mobe Sumfest is the next big stop in Jamaica.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to the big performance down there.
And then what is crazy is this wasn't even a performance.
Yeah.
I just came to pay
cameo.
tribute to the boss himself. That's what I say, Rashad. So imagine when me come with the performance, you know,
Look at a man. Cause guess what, you could have to call me up on some face, you know, cause me have the wet name there, you know.
Hey.
Me have the married man version for continent. You know.
See that?
You never know.
How the one go now?
You never know me have it.
No, you mean island?
Content. Content. Me content with the girl when me a check cause she have the good love when make me can't left. Me a
Is it the father?
Hey! One burner me never cheat yet. Me no play with fire because me can't take his stress.
Well, me want to fire about me. Me, personally.
Well, so me ask you, you practice where you preach or you're in a relationship, boss?
I'm in a relationship right now.
You're nomadic.
Like a nomad! Yeah, sir!
You can't settle.
Me not no time I give on girl pitney out here campaign. Is either on my time or you're not allowed.
One father. Gentlemen, we don't have nowhere else to go after the assault. We can't go nowhere else in the conversation. Gentlemen, enough respect for joining me
my brother.
in the barbershop here.
Big
Give
up,
thanks,
big
Minister.
up, big
and I
up,
know
man.
you're working tirelessly overtime to make the dent that we need to have a better Jamaica. Give thanks again, gentlemen. You don't know.
Father.